the ex-Redskins corner who was traded. He was a disgruntled Redskins corner. He wanted more money.
Yep, wanted a new
Supposedly
deal.
demanded a trade. Then he pulled back on the demand. He said he was going to hold out. Then he pulled back on that. But ultimately, Ron Rivera, the new head coach of the Redskins, shipped him to Seattle. Right. And Dunbar was in Florida at a party with another guy who was a first-round pick of the New York Giants. DeAndre Baker, and they've been accused of armed robbery, all kinds of charges flying. I've read different accounts where Dunbar may not have been armed himself, but the bottom line is he's been accused of armed robbery, and this is on the heels of him having a press conference, a teleconference with reporters in Seattle talking about his character. Here's Quinton Dunbar from Thursday.
You just want to feel one at the end of the day. So, them guys made made their job to trade for me, and that's good enough for me. And I just hope to repay them with, the way I carry myself as a person.
And apparently this incident happened Wednesday, and next day he's doing, I guess, a Zoom call-in with Seattle reporters.
The way he carries himself as a person. Somebody tweeted us, I haven't seen the accounts, that Baker and Dunbar may have lost $70,000 playing cards maybe a couple days prior.
Mm-hmm. So they were trying to get it back, which makes sense. There's your motive.
Right, they were allegedly robbing guys of cash and their expensive watches. I think 3 or 4 of the guys that were at the party, they had watches that were like $15K in value or higher, like Rolexes and Hublot watches. I mean, pricey accessories that they're walking around with.
You mentioned it, Cakes. How do these guys think they're going to get it? First of all, it's stupid to do. Mm-hmm. It's dangerous. You never know if a guy's going to pull out something and shoot you. I mean,
sure.
It's just crazy.
Those other guys could be armed, too. It could turn into a shootout in the basement.
And then how do you decide to just become a criminal? I mean, it's probably not. I mean, who knows? And then they're going to ID you. You're playing cards with them. They know who you are. You play in the NFL.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. I'm trying to figure out a way that Quinton Dunbar actually is innocent of this.
It would be on a much lesser level. Like, say I went to MGM National Harbor and I got felted. I lost, I don't know, 10K. Right. I went on just a bender. I lost 10 large between poker and blackjack. Right. And then we had our home game, and everybody's in the basement. All of a sudden, I whip out a gun and I flip the table over and I rob everybody. I mean, this is the dumbest thing ever. They're going to be like, well, it was Cakes.
Well,
that
it reminds me
stupid,
of the scene.
Lost a bunch of money at MGM National Harbor, and then he tried to get it back by robbing us.
Reminds me of the scene in White Man Can't Jump, right? Where the guy, you remember, he robs him in the movie, and then they say
Johnson.
What was the character's name?
No, I think the actor or the basketball player was Marcus Johnson.
Right. And they said whatever his character name was, and he said, "Dude, we know what you, Marcus. We know what you."
Yeah, he lost a pickup game. Owed him like $40.
Right.
And then he went over to the corner store to get his cash, and he put his mask on and robbed him.
Right.
I'd like to hear from somebody that can give me a scenario.
I'd love to hear this.
Where this actually makes sense from Dunbar's side of it. Like I said, Dunbar apparently wasn't armed here.
I think other reports are saying he did have a weapon.
In the police report, it says that someone says that he pointed a firearm at someone.
Yeah, so those guys probably, who knows? They have a gun for protection.
I'm not advocating this, but this would have been much smarter if they had gotten a tip. And I think EB touched on this earlier. If they had gotten a tip about a juicy card game with people they didn't know, and then they roll into the basement with the guns out, and then they stick them up, and then they put everything in a sack, and then they roll out. If they do it to a bunch of strangers, that makes more sense. To do it with people that you know, what can ID you, is beyond idiotic.
What if they found out the game was crooked that they were playing in?
I get it.
That's the one thing I was thinking.
You can't do that. Okay, they were cheating. So you find out they were cheating, and so you're going to get your money back. But that's like when OJ said, "I got my trophies back," or whatever.
Exactly.
You just can't do it.
Yeah, but that's what makes sense. I'm guessing they didn't think that they would say anything because either the witnesses stole from them, or they think they stole from them, or they got screwed somehow. So they were just going to take what they thought was theirs back, and nobody would say anything. I think that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah,
I think that's the
and then
that's
you end
the
up going to jail for that.
Right.
That's the exact scenario I was thinking. Is like nothing else makes sense. If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067 is that they believe Quinton Dunbar and DeAndre Baker. They believe that they were wronged and they were just getting it back, and they did not even think about getting reported on by these other guys.
Or
Well, I think
That's
if
the
you
only
start,
scenario I could think, because the scenario where they said they had getaway cars
No, here's
pointed
the
in the
other
right
scenario.
direction, that makes no sense to me because they've already identified you.
Here's the other scenario.
Well, it still makes sense in case there's a shootout. You know what I mean? Or
Okay,
if S hits the fan, you want to
Right.
be able to get out of there.
you don't want to
quickly.
back your car out.
Yeah, you don't want to be parallel
you don't
parking.
Want, you don't want to go back to the guy and say, hey, buddy, you're blocking me in. Can
It's-
you go move your car?
Yeah, it says it right there in the police report. All three left in different vehicles, Mercedes, Lamborghini, and BMW, and were pre-positioned to expedite an immediate departure from the
Yeah,
area.
but you're not going to leave in 3 different cars if you do something like that. I don't think if it's planned. But maybe here's the other explanation, and it doesn't exonerate them. But they were high as a kite, or they were drunk. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then you have bad judgment. But every single person here has done something they shouldn't have when they've been drinking or under the influence. So maybe that's the other factor.
I didn't hold somebody up with a gun, but I've done
No.
stupid things.
Yeah,
I
you've
mean,
done
Cakes
stupid
might have
things.
stolen like a porn magazine from a 7-Eleven back in the day.
Oh, he stole a porno. He stole
All
actually-
alleged. This is all alleged. You can't prove
But
anything.
he didn't have a gun and didn't take
No.
people's watches.
It's called sleight of hand. It's called distracting
Yeah, you were
the
a young-
cashier at 2:30 in the morning. It's running interference is what it is.
You were a young Max Major. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sleight of hand.
I made hustlers disappear down my pants.
Right.
and Wheeze and Penthouse.
Sure, these things may have happened allegedly.
Hilarious. All right. Is anybody calling in? Does anybody have a scenario? My scenario was they were drunk and high, and they weren't making good decisions.
EB, would you welcome him back to the Washington Redskins? Ever?
I have to hear more of the story. At this point, no, but I'd have to hear more of the story. Maybe it can come up with a scenario. I like to give guys second chances. Maybe if you serve some time. I don't like to be that person that just says, "Oh no, you did something wrong. I'm writing him off forever."
I would think he's going to serve some time if it indeed was armed robbery.
It doesn't look good. And was somebody saying that there are some max sentence guidelines for some of these felonies?
I don't know.
I saw that in one of the
Potentially?
tweets.
Yeah, I
but
don't know if
the
that's
confusing
true.
part here is it seems like, at least the stories that I've read, that Baker has more charges than the others.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Drabby, is anybody calling in? Does anybody have a scenario where they can vindicate him?
Yeah, we got one guy on hold. He just
Oh,
put
by
him
the
on
way,
hold a second.
I understand. He's in quarantine and he can't work out at the facility. Why isn't he in Seattle? Okay, what is Quinton Dunbar doing? I understand he's from Florida. I know he's, I think,
I'm not
from
going to
Miami.
kill him for that, Cakes.
Why are you in Miami instead of being in your
It's his
place of
home.
work?
It's his home. There is no work.
No, his new home is the state of Washington.
Yeah, but he signed with Seattle during the quarantine, Cakes.
Yeah, come on, Cakes. You got nothing.
So?
You got no leg to stand on here.
You got to go find your spot to live.
Not yet. There's no.
There might
work
not
in
be a
sight.
season.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a season. Come on. You know there's going to be a season. Everything else is hitting. They're hitting all the marks. Draft, free agency.
Well, couldn't you work out better in Florida than in Washington? Because the restrictions are a lot less.
Yes.
Another good point. Valdi.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Of course you didn't.
Hey, I'm just trying to get him out of this sticky situation.
Yeah.
You think he'd be sticking people over DeAndre Baker when he's 3,000 miles away? I think not.
The cakes just
Thank
got
you.
pwned.
No,
All right,
my
let's go to-
argument is so rock solid.